Hello, my friends. My name is Miss Nicole, and I am going to be joining you all for story time today. And today we are going to be reading a really special story, and it is called The Sandwich Swap by Her Majesty Queen Rania Al Abdullah and Kelly DiPuccio, and it is illustrated by Trisha Tusa. And can anyone tell me what illustrated means? Yeah, it means to draw the pictures. Now, before we get into our story, I have a few friends up on the screen that I want to introduce you to. Now, some of you might recognize these friends from the movie Inside Out. And the first friend that I'm going to talk about is Sadness. And Sadness is in the color blue. Can anyone tell me how Sadness feels? Sadness might feel like when your heart is really heavy, and you might feel sadness when a day just doesn't go your way. And the next friend I have is Joy, and that's when you're really, really happy. And the friend I have right in the middle of the screen in purple is Fear. And fear is when we're really scared. And you guys might feel scared during this month because it's Halloween, and we see a lot of scary things on Halloween sometimes. And then the next friend I have is in green, and that's Disgust. And you guys might know Disgust if you've ever tasted a food that you didn't like. And you might say that you felt disgusted when you tasted that food. And then the last friend I have to talk about is Anger. And that's when you're really mad. It all began with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Now, can you raise your hand if you like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? Me too. And it ended with a hummus sandwich. And can you raise your hand if you like hummus sandwiches? I like those too. Selma and Lily were best friends at school. They drew pictures together. They played on the swings together. And can you guys tell me how you think Selma and Lily might feel when they draw pictures and play on the swings together? You can use the emotions that we talked about earlier, or you can tell me a new one. I think Selma and Lily might feel really happy or joyful when they play together like that. They jumped rope together. Do any of you guys like jumping rope? I like jumping rope too. And they ate their lunches together. But just what they ate was a little different. Lily ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich every day for lunch. Selma ate a hummus and pita sandwich every day for lunch. And although Lily never said it out loud, she thought Selma's sandwich looked weird and yucky. She felt terrible that her friend had to eat that icky chickpea paste every day. Ew, yuck. And although Selma never said it out loud, she thought that Lily's sandwich looked strange and gross. She felt just awful that her friend had to eat that gooey chickpea paste every day. Ew, gross. Now, how do you think Lily and Selma feel when they looked at each other's sandwiches? And you can use one of the feelings that we talked about earlier. I would say Selma and Lily probably felt disgusted. Then one day, Lily just couldn't hold back those pesky thoughts any longer. "Your sandwich looks kind of yucky," she blurted out. "What did you say?" Selma asked, thinking she must have misunderstood her friend. "I said your sandwich looks yucky." Selma frowned She looked down at the thin, soft bread and thought of her beautiful, smiling mother as she carefully cut Selma's sandwich into 2 neat halves that morning. Her hurt feelings turned mad. "Yeah, well, your sandwich looks gross, and it smells bad too," Selma snapped back. Lily looked surprised. She sniffed the thick, squishy bread and thought of her dad in his silly apron, whistling while he cut Lily's sandwich into 2 perfect triangles that morning. Lily scowled. "It does not smell bad." "Does too." "Ew, yuck. Ew, gross." Now, how do you think Selma and Lily are feeling at this point in our story, using the feelings that we talked about earlier? I think Selma and Lily are feeling really angry. That afternoon, the friends did not draw pictures together. They did not swing together, and they did not jump rope together either. The next day, Selma ate her lunch at one table and Lily ate her lunch at another. Meanwhile, the peanut butter versus hummus story had spread, and everyone began choosing sides. Each side had something not so nice to say to the other. "Peanut butter breath," "jelly heads," "garlic breath," "chickpea brains." Pretty soon, the rude insults had nothing at all to do with the peanut butter or hummus. "You're weird." "You're stupid." "You look funny." "You dress dumb." And then it happened. Somebody yelled, "Food fight!" Peanut butter and hummus sandwiches and other lunch favorites began flying back and forth between both sides of the lunchroom. They stuck to the walls. They stuck to the ceiling. They stuck to the lunch lady. When the sandwiches were all gone, pudding cups and applesauce and carrot sticks took flight. Selma and Lily looked at one another from across the rowdy, splattered room. They both felt ashamed by what they saw. They both felt really ashamed when the principal called them into her office after they had helped clean up the mess. The following day, Selma set her lunch down across from Lily's. The 2 girls nibbled on their sandwiches in silence. Finally, Lily got up the courage to speak. "Would you like to try a bite of my peanut butter and jelly?" Selma grinned. "Sure, why not? Would you like to try my hummus and pita?" Lily laughed. "I'd like that." "On the count of 3? Okay. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And before we flip the page, do you guys think the girls liked each other's sandwiches? Okay, let's see. Mmm, yummy. Hey, this is delicious. And this is heavenly. The girls giggled and hugged and traded sandwiches. After lunch, Selma and Lily met with the principal again. This time, they were there to suggest a very special event for the whole school. And that's how it all began, with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and ended with a hummus and pita sandwich. The end. Now, during this story, we talked a lot about the feelings that the characters were experiencing. And that's really important to do when we read a story. So the next time you guys are reading a story, maybe you should pay attention to how the characters might be feeling in the story. Okay, I'll talk to you all soon. Bye!